Welcome everyone. This is the May meeting for the Community Board 9 Land Use and Housing Committee meetings. We have some special guests today. So we'll start by reading the rules of order. During general board meetings and committee meetings, members of the public may ask questions and comment upon agenda items only when recognized by the chair, committee chair, or their designee. The Housing Committee chair is Jolie Cobb. My name is Suki Cheong. I'm the Land Use Chair. All board members and members of the public shall conduct themselves in a courteous, professional, and orderly manner. Obscene, threatening, or harassing language, slander, threats of violence, personal attacks of any kind, or offensive comments that target or disparage any ethnic, racial, age, or religious group, gender, sexual orientation, or disability status are prohibited at all board meetings. No members of the public shall display signs or placards in a disruptive manner, disruptively applaud participants in debate, or engage in disorderly conversation or other disorderly behavior which may disrupt the proceedings of the meeting. Basically, please respect one another and the guests so that you can be heard and ask questions and learn what you need to learn. So with that, we'll begin, and I will give the floor to Mr. Pierre from Empire State Development.
Thank you. Good evening, Community Board 9, Mr. Chair, Mr. Committee Chair. My name is Josh Pierre. I'm here with the
double mic? Yeah. Double mic. Here, don't use the hand. There we go.
Would you prefer to use this one?
Whatever works better for you. Let's just use that.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Does this one work?
That one is.
That one's working up. I don't think you plugged it in, so I'm not sure why.
Oh, it isn't plugged in?
No. So
Is it by the speaker? Is that the issue?
it's picking up. It's probably picking up the bounce back on the speaker. I think you're good.
What happens if you move the speaker forward?
I think it's the other button now, but give it. Max. If you can.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Josh, you're ready to buy it.
I know. Okay, let's try that again. Are we in?
Is it switch? Yeah, switch.
How about?
You can adjust the volume.
How about now? Better. I think it's almost there. Perfect. All right. One more time. My name is Josh Pierre. I'm here with Empire State Development Corp. I have here with me my colleagues, Angel Santana, VP, and Anna Paisior, Senior Vice President. We're with the Community Relations Group. And this evening we'll be presenting on the Kingsborough Psychiatric Center's mixed-use project. Thank you, Madam Chair. To begin with, how did we get here to this date? In early 2023, we issued a notice of public scoping, then followed by a draft scope of work, which was then issued. A public scoping meeting was held, final scope of work released, and draft GPP and EIS issued. Following the issuance of the draft EIS, Assemblymember Cunningham in the fall of 2023 held 3 town halls which ESD attended, one in September, one in October, and another in November. On November 30th, ESD held a public hearing where the public was able to get more information about the draft EIS. In January of 2024, we had our 30-day comment period, where we received comments from the public via email and other methods. The comment period was also extended by an additional week to give folks additional time to submit comments. All comments that were received were documented reviewed, and considered. Now, on March 27, 2025, ESD's directors accepted the FEIS as complete and authorized its publication and distribution. The following day, we reached out to Community Board 9 and made sure that they had a copy so that it's available to the public, in addition to the fact that it is on our website. Which brings us here to today, where we're also discussing it further, and you'll have opportunities to ask additional questions. Next steps. On May 22nd, we anticipate that ESD's board will vote to affirm the SECRA findings and the GPP. Then later on in the year, in late 2025, ESD will submit and PACB will consider approval of the GPP. So there are many components to this project. I want to go over a few of them for you. The project envisions the comprehensive redevelopment of a site consisting of approximately 7.2 acres, open to up to approximately 1,081 new units for permanently affordable housing for households earning between 40 to 80% of AMI. And just to add a little bit more detail to that, for a family of 3, 40% of AMI is gross household income of $58,320 a year. A 2-bedroom would then cost that family of 3 $1,398 a month at current rental rates. For a family of 3 with a combined income in the 80% AMI range of $116,640 a year, a 2-bedroom would cost them $2,796 at the current market. In addition to the affordable housing, there will be approximately 63,000 square feet of community facility space, which will include an SEIU facility, an emergency food provider, a ballet studio, grocery store, a resident social service space, 46 on-site parking spots, and 2.16 acres of publicly accessible open space. Approximately 9% of the units will be home ownership opportunities for low and moderate income households earning between 40 to 80% of the area median income. Now, the existing 2 homeless shelters will be replaced by 2 new state-of-the-art homeless shelters with no increases to the existing 364 beds. It is anticipated that the first phase will commence in late 2025, new units to come on board in 2029, and the final phase to be completed in 2034, with full occupancy as early as 2034. So there are 3 types of affordable units that we have. There will be approximately 1,081 units. First, there is the affordable housing, where we'll have 436 units, affordable senior citizen housing, 337 units, supportive housing, 308 units. Modifications have been made based on community input and input from your local assembly member, Brian Cunningham. There are now 9 additional multi-bedroom affordable housing units for low and moderate income families. There are 18 fewer supportive housing units. There are 31 more on-site surface parking for a total of 46. A publicly accessible community garden to the proposed open space. 660 square feet of new storage space for steel drum pan equipment, courtesy of Assemblymember Cunningham, as well as 3 electric vehicles charging stations. A traffic monitoring plan will also be implemented. Now here we have commitments from the developer after the public approval process. The developer would provide on-site security. An extensive security camera system will be installed, and security as well as service staff to monitor and secure the project site. The developer would be required to create a community advisory board to meet and discuss the new developments. The community advisory board would include representatives from elected officials' offices, the community board, police officers from the 71st Precinct, as well as representatives from community-based organizations and local stakeholders. Construction will
Who would
take
choose those members?
Construction will take place in 3 phases. From 2025 to 2028, 2 shelters will be built, 2 residential buildings. From 2029 to 2032, 3 residential buildings. During this phase, we'll also have parking, green space, etc. built. And from 2031 to 2034, the 2 home ownership pieces will be built in as well. So, if there are any comments or questions that we do not get to by the end of the Q&A section, please feel free to email us. Our email is kpceis@esd.ny.gov. You'll also find it on the handouts that were given out to us. And at this point, I want to pass it back to the chairwoman.
Thank you, Josh, right on time. So at this point, we'll do Q&A for another 45 minutes from the members of the committee and the members of the public. I'll start by asking the housing chair if she or her committee members have any questions.
I know I have a few, but I'll see if anybody in the committee has some first, and I can always follow up. Oh, God. Okay. So I do want to talk about the Community Advisory Board. I'm curious about the construction of that, when it will be implemented, and then what are the goals and aims during the development process and once it's completed. That's definitely one of my startup questions.
And who gets to choose?
So we have someone from the development team that will answer that question.
I'm David Beer from Breaking Ground. I'm part of the development team. So the Community Advisory Board would be, the Community Advisory Board would be started when phase 1 construction is almost complete. And what we're proposing is that we would invite members of representatives from local electeds and the 71st precinct, and we would ask local electeds to, and the community board, and we would ask local electeds to recommend other stakeholders who they feel should be part of the community advisory board. What we would like to do is, for the first meeting, we would actually give members of the community advisory board a tour of the 2 new shelters and the 2 new residential buildings. And we would also have a staff person who would be a point of contact between meetings, so that between meetings, if there's an issue that comes up and one of the community advisory board members, one of the CAB members, could reach out to that person, and then that person would be responsible for, the point of contact would be responsible for reporting back at the next meeting what the resolution of the issue was.
I also have a follow-up to that. Would we be interested in outlining that structure formally and like a document that outlines different roles and expectations? That way we're able to maintain that enforcement integrity throughout the process.
Sure, so that requirement to have the CAB is actually going to be in a restrictive declaration, which will be a recorded document. But we can also send the community board a copy of, it's about a 2-page overview of what the CAB, how the CAB will function.
How many members are on this board?
That hasn't been determined.
Who's gonna determine it?
I mean, the more the merrier, I think. I don't think there's a limit to, if a local elected suggests 3 people, and they all want to be on the board, and the community board wants to have another 3 people, I don't think that we're gonna cap.
And what is the role of this?
The primary role will be to address quality of life issues and issues regarding security on the site and the neighboring community. So another important constituent of the committee will be the Community Affairs Officer from the 71st Precinct.
Do we have any other housing committee members or questions? Kendall?
Thanks again. Two, you, I think you sort of partly answered the first question, which is the development team has been selected, and Breaking Ground's a piece of that, and or who else is a part of it. And the second is about ownership of this site. And the reason that EST is here, right, is because this is state property. Is the intention long-term that this remains state property, or that it's at some point will transfer ownership of the